so you get a lot of members benefits. So the extra benefits are the free membership for those who lost their jobs, insurance programs, exclusive one petrol discounts, and so on and so forth. So if you do decide to register, please get in touch with any of us, or one of my colleagues' email addresses over there. She's the membership, Kia membership chairperson, so you may get in touch with her. All right, so please register today and let's win, yeah? All right, so thank you very much. And I'll pass the floor back to Abdullah. Thank you, Abdullah. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Ms. Harvin, for the wonderful introduction. I believe that SPE has given all of us amazing opportunities and has given us chances to improve ourselves. So we encourage everyone to join this professional society. So next, I would like to introduce our speaker for today. So our speaker today, his name is Mr. Rafiq Lazar. He's the founder of GeoModel International. So Mr. Rafiq Lazar is the founder of GeoModel International. He graduated from MSc in Geology from the University of Provence in Marseille in France. And then after that, he joined Shell. During his 10 years in Shell, which is really rich, Rafiq occupied mainly geological positions in the Netherlands, Oman, Iran, and Malaysia. Malaysia, where we're the host of Saturday for SPE. In 2016, Rafiq left the comfort of Shell to create GeoModel International, a technical consultancy and advisory company. Initially founded in Kuala Lumpur, the company moved its headquarters to the UAE. Now GeoModel International has now branched out to provide investment advisory and digital solutions to the energy industry. So Mr. Rafiq is mainly based in the UAE, but also works in Paris, in Oman, in Malaysia. So I would like Mr. Rafiq, maybe you can say a word before we go to the surprise that you told me to do to the audience today.
Yes. Hi, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It depends where you connect. Thank you very much for the intro. Big respect for you guys for coming on Saturday to listen to me. So much appreciated. I give back the floor to Mr. Abdullah for a little bit of disruption in the program.
Thank you, Mr. Rafiq. So as you know, today we're talking about entrepreneurship in oil and gas. So Mr. Rafiq said that the first exercise is to disrupt the audience, is to do something that is surprise. So we decided that the Kahoot this time, under his recommendation, should go first. The reason doing this is he wants the question that he has prepared for the Kahoot session, he wants to answer them during his presentation, and he thinks that it's better that we do it at the first. So I would like to pass the floor to my colleague Jibra, if you're online, to please share the screen and we play a small game. He wants to get your ideas before he's talk about the entrepreneurship in oil and gas. And the question may differ, it may have different answers than the correct one, but we believe that this is how entrepreneurship works. Everyone has a different mindset, and we hope that you enjoy the game. And we start with a small appetizer. Jibra, I'll let you share the screen. Great. Glory, are you in? I heard you're the game master today.
Yes, I'm in. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay.
So can I join also the quiz, guys?
Yeah, you can, but you should keep the wrong answers.
All right. Go ahead.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. This is Glory here, and it's nice to have you all on board. And please join the Kahoot and join with your nicknames, no renames. You want phone names. Okay, so we have Dibio. Okay, for the pin. Okay, someone is unmuted. For the pin, it's 1321690. I repeat, 1321690. Okay, so we have Layo. Okay, we have Kaisa. There's a name I can't pronounce, and then there's Dibio, and there's someone with the glasses. Looks cool.
Don't be shy, guys. Yes, don't be shy. It's really is to simulate the discussion. So we wanted to start with the quiz first to get you as a warm-up for the presentation. Yeah. So there's no right or wrong. You will see. I mean, there's right and wrong, but in fact, it's no right and no wrong. We'll see. Yeah. So don't be shy, guys. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. We have winner. You better win, winner. And we have six people already. We have 21 participants. Please, guys, we're waiting for you.
Yeah, maybe let's reach at least to 10 people.
Okay. We have marker. Is it the board marker? Or sorry, but then it sounds like the board marker anyway. We have marker. Where are all the participants in the house? Okay. Would wait when it gets to 10:20. So we have 3 more minutes. Guys, please join. We have 2 more minutes. Okay. Oh, Jibber is here too. Sadro. Okay, welcome, guys. One more person to go, and we'll start. And one. Okay, one just joined, so I think we'll start the game. Or should we wait more? Can we?
Maybe we give it 2 more people.
Okay, it's still 10:18. When it's 10:19, we'll start.
Yep.
Like the speaker said, everyone don't be shy. There's no, they don't mind the one named winner here. There's yeah. There's no loser. It's all we all learn from the Kahoot.
There's no loser, but there's a winner already.
No. That's just his name anyway. Okay, it's
go.
Time already. Let's go. Okay, entrepreneurship in oil and gas industry. Yes. So, good luck, guys. What is the oil and gas industry? An industry struck in the past and polluting the earth, a source of tension and conflict, or a natural industry property. What do you think is the oil and gas, our daily life? Okay, everyone got that correctly. That's good. And so, who is leading? The one with the name I cannot pronounce is the one leading. Okay, Kaisa is second, and the guy with the cool glasses. Okay, let's go to the next one. What is the best way to kickstart entrepreneurship? Is it reinventing the wheel but a squared one? Is it copying something that works? Is it resolving a pain point? That's simple anyway. And have the boing sound. The sound, you can hear the sound anyway. And resolving a pain point, that's the answer. Let's say with leading. 6 people got that. And how winner is coming up. Winner, you better win. Okay. The one with the name. Okay, true or false? Cheaper, faster, better. Can you have all 3? True or false? Cheaper, faster, better. Can you have all 3? True or false? Something is cheap, it's fast, and it's better. Do you think you can have all 3 in one thing? All right, so true or false? False. Just 5% got that correctly.
If somebody say true, please talk to me then. I'd like to know.
Yeah, but sometimes anyway, I don't know, but for me, I would have chosen true. Our winner came off the board. Wow. Winner is on the podium. Okay, and the cool glasses now have fire. Okay, cool. Okay, let's go to the next question then. Okay, for the next question, define success for an oil and gas entrepreneur. Is it driving a sport car and having a big house? That should be it. Retiring at 40 and drinking cocktail at the beach, huh? Is it having created something? Okay, that's the answer. Oh, everyone got this correct. But then driving a sport car is part of success. I don't know for you guys. So let's go to the next one. And winner is still leading. And the guy with the cool glasses too. Okay, let's go to the next question. What is the main paradox of the oil and gas industry? Is it cutting edge technology but old workflows, offshore and onshore development, dealing with oil and gas and renewables?
That's a tricky one here. Tricky question.
And it's the one that doesn't look like the answer. Cutting edge technology but old workflow. Jeez. Just 7 persons got that correctly. Anyway, that's a good trial. Anyway, let's go to next who is leading this time. Weena is still leading. Weena, your head must be swelling right now, right? So Weena is still leading, and the guy with the cool glasses. Yeah. So let's go to the next question. What is the age sweet spot to be an oil and gas entrepreneur in general? Young, just graduated from university, full of creativity, mid-career, understand the industry, still able to innovate? Or is it near retirement, know it all, difficult to innovate? The mid-career, understand the industry, still able to innovate. Okay, that's age sweet. Correct. Let's do 9 persons. Wow. And Weena is still leading. A liar just came off the board. Okay, and the guy with the cool glasses. I really like this emoji, by the way.
Could be a lady as well. Huh? So it could be a lady.
Oh, anyway, I like the glasses. Let's go to the next question. Okay, what is the best mindset to be an oil and gas entrepreneur? Is it iPhone style? This is a new revolution. Is it Robert Kiyosaki? Nothing is impossible. Keep pushing. Is it old McDonald's? If ain't broken, don't fix it. So what's the best motive? Robert Kiyosaki. Anyway, I love that his book Rich Dad Poor Dad. I think that's his best book. So it's nothing is impossible. Keep pushing. And Weena is still on the board. The guy with a I don't know is current, and Kaisa is third. Sajo came up the board. Liar is, and the guy with the cool glasses left the board. Oh, let's go to the next question. So that's just gonna be Weena now. So there's the 8th question: where the focus should be in the oil and gas industry right now? Where should the focus be? Is it efficiency, getting more with less, or fighting reservoir decline? Is it being environmentally friendly? All of the above. By the way, I love the topic entrepreneurship as a whole. I was excited when I see that topic. All of the above. Oh, 9 persons got that. That's nice. Let's see who is the winner this time around. Winner is still leading. Winner has the highest answer. Okay, Kaisa is there, liar, and the guy with the funny name has left the board. And the guy with the cool glasses came over to come up the board. That's the next question. Number 9. How exploration should be today. How should exploration be? Is it capturing learnings to reduce drivers occurrence? Keep drilling till you find something? Is it consulting crystal ball? I'm doing voodoo before drilling, really? Fly around the area with a chopper and pick a location. This is voodoo. These questions are cool anyway. So capturing learnings to reduce drivers occurrence. That's the answer. And 7 persons got that correctly. Okay, that's cool. Let's see who's winning this time around. And winner came down the board. Okay, so it's leading this time around. Winner is 2nd, liar is 3rd, Sadra is 4th, and the guy with the funny name came up again. Okay, let's go to the next question. And this is a 10th question. How should development be today? Is it increased recovery factor through superior know-how? Is it shotgun approach to ensure all angles are covered? Well, step by step to learn along the way, all of the above. Mr. Rafik, I love these questions. They're so fun to read out anyway. Okay. So it's all of the above. Okay, 7 persons got that correctly. That's a good one. That shows the question. So let's go to the next. Who says winning? Weena came up the board again. Hi. Weena, you better win. This is the last stage and you should already win. So Larry is 2nd, the guy with the funny name is 3rd, Kaisa is 4th, and Sadra is 5th. Let's go to the last question. Next. Okay. So for the last question, what is the ultimate goal of an oil and gas entrepreneur? Is it improving the industry, developing environmentally friendly solutions, think long term, or all of the above? So this is a bonus question anyway. All of the above, yeah, and 9 persons got that correctly. So let's see who's the winner for today. And the third position goes to the guy with a funny name. And the second position goes to Liar. Oh, congratulations. And the winner is, oh God, I know. Winner. Okay, I need to clap for you right now because you proved your name. It would be a shame if you don't prove that you're the winner anyway. Congratulations to the winners.
It's actually quite impressive. It's quite impressive to live by your name. So well done.
Oh yeah, yeah. And Mr. Rafik, thank you for the questions. The questions are awesome as well. And I must say that I was really excited when I saw the particular topic, that's entrepreneurship. I'm really excited when I see entrepreneurship as a topic, and I must say to it, yeah,
great.
It's really nice time. Congratulations, guys. Now give back the podium to Abdullah. Thank you.
Winner, it would be nice if you could identify yourself, winner.
I am the winner.
Abdullah, really?
Yeah.
Okay, that's right. Now your head must be swollen up right now.
Thank you very much, Glory, for the amazing game session. Right now, I will not take much of your time. I think I'll pass it to Mr. Rafik. I think he's the weird name that you had, if I'm not mistaken. So, Mr. Rafik, the floor is yours. Tell us how to become rich in the oil and gas industry.
All right. Yeah, excellent. Thank you very much for the quiz. It was a great warm-up. I'm going to share my screen right now. And yes, I'll tell you how to become rich, not necessarily with money. I hope you don't mind. There is a lot of ways to become rich. Let me know when you see the presentation.
Yes, all good.
All right. So we did the quiz first because I really wanted to discuss, about all the topic we addressed during the quiz, because you will find out probably the entrepreneurship is not like a science, or like mathematics, like A plus B is equal to C. It's not like that. It's something which is complex, a lot of ingredients. It requires things that cannot be conceptualized, or sometimes it's not logic. Sometimes it involves luck, acumen, smell. So that's why, it was a bit tough for me to put up some slides, because I don't think you can teach the entrepreneurship. It's a state of mind, it's the way you are. So we've put up a few things here, but what I am mostly sort of interested is on the discussion, So the question we've seen just now during the quiz is really you guys, mostly of you are young. So what do you think about that, that path? And so let's go through the slides and then let's discuss, let's exchange. Yeah. Before that, I like to always start with something a little bit out of touch. So by background, I'm a geologist, a reservoir modeler. And initially, when I told that to my parents, a geomodeler, they thought I would, go to the space and look at the Earth from far. My friend, they really thought that I was using a crystal ball, trying to read, the future. My kids, more pragmatic. They probably think that I'm just playing with clay, and making animals. The well engineers, if you know the well engineers, they don't really like the reservoir modelers. So they consider us like George W. Bush, with the book upside down. Reservoir engineers as well, most of you probably are. They don't like to have big models with a lot of cells. So when we give that to them, they think that we are mean. And I myself, I thought that I would, be doing fancy things and so on, which is true. But most of the time, to be honest, we're just playing with colors. We create maps with colors. So that can really summarize, what I actually do on a day-to-day basis, and it's fun. So that's the idea. Yeah. All right. So about the content of today, I'll introduce myself, my company. We'll talk a little bit about the oil and gas industry, entrepreneurship in general, and then how to be entrepreneur and bring innovation in the oil and gas industry. and then really open up the floor, with you guys. So to discuss, what does it mean to be the entrepreneur in the oil and gas industry in 2022, because the year is almost coming to a close, right? So I myself, I think Mr. Abdullah gave some introduction about me. So I'm a geologist by background, still very hands-on. I worked for Shell for 10 years. That was pretty much, my school time, to learn, a bit about what we are doing, being close to the drilling, to the wells. I had the privilege and the chance to work in a lot of places in the world. Very grateful for that. But 2016, when the downturn came, I took a bit of a bold move to create my own company, starting as a consultancy to specialize in what I do best. Yeah. And we got very, very lucky. We had the chance to do some projects in a lot of places: Malaysia, Papua New Guinea, Pakistan, Oman, Indonesia, South Africa, UAE. In parallel, I'm also part of the technical committee for the ADIPEC and IPTC. And I think we all are in a way, but I'm very versatile, field. You can see I'm running some field trip in the office as well. I do some programming, and in the kitchen also. I think in terms of cooking, I'm probably a right-handed with two left hands. Yeah. Now about the company. So we started actually at the end of 2015 in Malaysia. We got all the for the approval by Petronas to operate. But you will see, I will come to that. But after we move to the UAE, and of course, for nowadays, we have to be very global. You can see there are people here from Nigeria, from Indonesia, Malaysia. So everything is global. So we need to be able to reach out quite far. Yeah. Just a quick word about our team. We are a small team, but basically very diverse. I myself, I'm French, in case you did not hear. There is the boss, who is my wife. So the boss at home and in the office as well, who is Malaysian, and a couple of colleagues, Malaysian, some Canadian and a Russian. Yeah. So here, these are the services we provide, and I put something in red. This is actually what we started at the beginning when we started. So the company, we focus on reservoir modeling, and you can see now what we are doing. And that's really the essence of the entrepreneurship. Is you cannot only look at your box. You need to be able to look left, right, up, down, and sometimes you need to look beyond what you can do. You need to interconnect, integrate. So, which is why very quickly the offering, the services sort of grew, and so we branch out first in the subsurface realm, and then we found out that we have some expertise, and some people actually are really demanding of us to teach them. So in the learning space, and then of course, when you are in this business, you know that some of the software have some limitation, and sometimes it's better to create something. And then when you get a little bit more experience and a good network, then you can start to invest, to advise the people, because you'll come across in this industry, and it's an advice for you guys, the new wave is there is actually very little people with skills, and some people who can understand. In the short, there's a lot of talker, but probably very little walker. Yeah. So our journey is actually intimately linked with the oil price. So this is the oil price in the last 10 years also in US dollar. And I started actually, so the company in January 2016, when the oil price was at the bottom at that time. Okay, if I don't consider the COVID, that was the bottom price. It was in below 40, and it was really, okay, it's the bottom already, it cannot be worse. So from now on, we can only go up. Yeah, so that was the birth. And really the first, I would say almost the first year, just you knock doors, promote yourself. And also I did sort of realize that it's not because you work for Shell that everybody is going to open the door and welcome you, with open arms. So it was really difficult, having to wear a tie, and meet people, try to sell your expertise, yourself, your company. Some people don't take you seriously. Some people, they ghost you. But it was good. I still have I kept my first shoes I bought as a memory. They are used now, but it's really about, you knock doors, again and again and again. You send emails. That's really the idea, the first step. Then we managed to generate first revenue almost a year after we started. So definitely the mood goes up, and then we could expand the team. That was good. But then, as you know, oil and gas is really cyclical. It's a bumpy road, right? So 2017, it was really on and off. Sometimes there is a leads, and then it would just disappear. Sometimes you have to take some decisions. So sometimes you need to turn down some of the things because it's not good, not viable. We went also through pain. We lost one of our team member. He passed away very sadly, and it really showed me that sometimes you need to do something. So there we thought that in Malaysia and KL probably there was no space for a small company. Like us, there were a lot of players. So the idea was, yes, we need to do something. We need to change something. That's again back to the entrepreneurship. You need to adapt. And that decision was 2018, and 1st of January is to change. So we moved to the UAE, and it's pretty much starting again from zero. So really, so the mindset is let's give it a go. There's only one life. Let's be crazy. And that was very tough. So almost 1.5 years, was really walking through the desert, literally. You start again from zero. You go to a new place, zero network, doesn't know anybody, and really, sometimes mental health, is a bit tough. Thinking, okay, did I really do the right thing? To do all these things. Is it still really worth? My family, they're pushing. They say, okay, we need to do something. We need to turn it around. But again, in the meantime, it's a perseverance. I know things will come. So it's just a matter of we hang on. Cut the cost, tighten the belt, and keep going. Through the storm. Yeah. Finally, that's really the word. Things start to pick up. 2019 in the UAE. There's a lot of things to be done, and then 2019, 2020, it's really we sort of reach like a cruising speed. Not big, but something which is viable. Which let us see. In the future with confidence, and there was really time to think about next step. Do you want to grow? Do you want to go to the next level, or do you want to stay as you are? But then, of course, COVID came, right? So COVID came, but we were quite lucky because our business model, we were sort of shielded. And actually, during COVID, believe it or not, we sort of grew, because what we had was very unique. We had some expertise in the reservoirs in the UAE, in the Middle East. So really, we could be really fortunate to sail through the storm, and actually we sort of grew during this time. And then it's really about adapting, to the new normal, which was made by COVID, and it's about you turn, lemon into lemonade. It's really to make sure that there is no worries. We are resilient, we are strong in case another wave comes. And now, as of today, I consider today, 2022 is a strategy, so what's the next stage, what's the ramp up? And in the background is really to be ready for the best, but also to plan for the worst. And I think this is really what the entrepreneurship is. You need to always think as a scenario. What's the worst case sort of scenario? What's the best case? And you need to be able to jump. And so to be ready for in both cases. Yeah. Now you see, if I summarize, all those things as a timeline, it's almost 6 years now. You see, they are up and down. When you started, very positive, then it's very difficult. Then you get a revenue, it's very nice. Then you give it a try. Then sometimes you go down at the deep. Then things come up, it come back, and that's what I call, the real. MBA. I can tell I was very fortunate to actually do the MBA, but in a real life. It's not sitting in a classroom, paying $100,000 US and learn. I think I can tell that I've been through that, through this journey so far. Yeah. So that was a bit about us. You understand, what's the background, where I'm coming from. Yeah. Now let's go into a bit closer into the topic. So oil and gas industry. It's a bit of a strange, industry. It's almost 200 years old in some places. They are developing oil and gas since a very long time. And I think it has been intimately linked with the industrial revolution, and to be honest, as of today, despite what you hear, the oil and gas is pretty much behind our daily life. The way we are living now, you can see I put a picture of Tokyo with the light, and a very booming city. It's most of it is enabled by the oil and gas. So something that basically let us go into more modernity. Yeah. But this industry actually is full of paradox, things that are sort of the contrary. You can see, with the barrel of oil, we can do a lot of things, we can drive, we can make things that we are using in our day-to-day life, cloth, plastic cup, toothbrushes, and it's very funny because on one hand, so the oil and gas, it's enabled some of the countries, to basically enter into the modernity, but for some other country, it's a source of conflict, also, this industry employs actually millions of people, but at the same time, it's not really stable. Maybe you are a little bit too young, but you can see when the oil price goes up, everything is nice, and then when it goes down, a lot of people lose their job. It's indispensable. You see what we show here. We need it, but at the same time, it's criticized. People think that the oil and gas is the devil, and then we need it. You can see again, right? This is something that I don't think if we cut the oil and gas today, we could function. But at the same time, it seems that it's losing steam. We have a new energies. I put a question mark because is it really losing steam? Can we live without the oil and gas in the short term? Personally, it's not the case. I personally think it's not the case, but which is why I think it's like some question mark. Yeah. Now, of course, it's today. It's very critical. It's always good to put the oil and gas in front of global warming. Some people think it's related to that, but we need it in our life. And here, what I put here is a graph. So the countries are on the X. So there's China. Basically, it's ranked by population. So on the left is China, India, USA, Indonesia, Brazil, and then on the right is a small country. I cut it to the 10 millions as for the inhabitants and above. And then it's two axes. So in gray is the cumulative CO2 generated, and then in orange is the CO2 per capita. And you can see a big chunk of CO2 is actually released by the big, so the bigger country, China, India, US, Indonesia, Brazil, so the Pakistan, Nigeria. So on one hand, yes, the oil and gas, is responsible of these CO2 things. But now think about it, what would be the consequences if you would reduce that? If we stop using, for example, the oil and gas, what will happen to people in China, in India, US? Yes.
Can you please explain the previous slide that what can be made from 1 barrel of oil? Okay.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll get back to it. If you have a question, you can write it in the chat, and Mr. Abdullah will mention it. So, yeah. So here is just one example. I took that from the internet, but basically from a barrel of oil, you can power a truck for 50 miles, for example. You could generate some electricity, 70 kilowatt per hour, for example. You can also fuel a car to drive almost 500 kilometers, for example. And you can make a lot of objects, on the petrochemical side, there are some cloth here, polymer t-shirts. I think these are toys here, plastic utensil, that you can use for day to day, whether you want to clean or eat. A plastic cup, yes. Toothbrush, combs. So here really the idea is that the oil and gas, it's really critical, and it's not only putting gas in your car, it's if you look around, I don't know where you are now, in your desk or in your living room, there is a lot of objects, day-to-day object that you are using. You take it for granted, but these are made out of the oil and gas. So that's why there's many people they criticize, for this industry, but at the same time, it's really vital. It's much needed for much more things than we think. Yeah, hope it answers your question. So I'll get back to this one. So here, yes, so the oil and gas is it has a share in the global warming, but again, so the consequences in a big chunk of the world population will be very dramatic if we were to stop using the oil and gas. That's the key element, the key sort of key points of this graph. Yeah, and I am saying that here because I think the entrepreneurship, is about finding some solution, and this is probably where it's much needed. How can we reconcile, these two elements? We need the oil and gas, but at the same time we need to reduce the global warming. I think this is where somebody very clever needs to come and find something that we did not think about. Yeah. And that's the thing, that's really moving forward. It's really at the moment, I think, so the equation is impossible. How do you limit, global warming share from the oil and gas, but then you maintain your lifestyle? If you still want to take a shower once a day, you want to have your car, like a big car, to drive around, but at the same time you need to limit the CO2. So how to do that? And I don't have the answer. And I think you guys are the new wave, so probably you should start thinking about that. I don't think personally the oil and gas is leaving soon. I think it's still there for a big amount of time, tens and tens of years. So I think that's where the effort is. And I mean, again, one more time, you guys are the new wave, so you will be the one, who will find the solution. Yeah. All right, now let's talk about entrepreneurship. So the entrepreneurship is, if you look at the definition from Wikipedia, it's so the entrepreneur is the owner of a business who is taking a risk and initiative to attempt to make a profit by improving a process or a product, solving a pain point, opening up the path, and sometimes make the impossible possible. And I took two pictures. I took Mrs. Shaw from India, who is the entrepreneur in the pharmaceutical bio industry, and of course, Mr. Elon Musk, who we all know, who is a trendsetter and who try to literally make the impossible possible. Yeah. So what's the attributes of the entrepreneur? And I think here this is very important. I think the first thing is having a vision. Yeah, and it is always like a misconception. If the objective, if the goal is to make money, it's not like a vision. So the money is actually the way to reach, to achieve your vision, but it's not the goal. That's very important. And then of course you have to be resilient and perseverant. Always tell yourself, if it's too easy, then everyone would have done it. And the fact that there's only one Elon Musk, one Mark Zuckerberg, it means something, right? Of course, there is an element of risk, risk taking. That's always there. Life is a risk, right? And then adaptable. It's not really the destination that counts, but more the journey. You have sometimes a clear path and sometimes a path which is a little bit more bumpy, but they all go to the same. Business acumen. So sometimes you need to sense, where's the opportunity. Sometimes you need to regroup yourself, change your way. IQ and EQ, I put both of them. I could have gone for IQ only, but I think nowadays, especially with all the AI, you will see a couple of talks in the future, but I think EQ is more important, because in the end we are, as a human, we have some emotion, and I think that part in the future will be very important. We need to strengthen on that as well. Up to date, of course, as an entrepreneur, either you evolve or you disappear. So it's very important to be up to date. And of course, you need money, to execute your plan. If you don't have a lot of money or no money, it will be very difficult. Yeah. And that leads me to what I call the entrepreneur, the triangle, which is two things: fund, vision, and the mindset. So you need those three. And how I picture it for you is, so the mindset is the car, right? The vision is a destination, and the fund is the gas, is the fuel for the car, right? So if you only have the mindset and the vision, you don't have a fund, then you have no fuel you won't be able to reach the destination, right? Now, if you have vision and you have a fund, but you don't have the mindset, then there is no car, even you have a lot of money, you won't reach as well the destination. And sometimes some people, they have a right mindset and they have a fund, but they lack the vision. And basically you have no objective, you have no goal, and probably you'll get lost in the way, right? So really, these are the three things, that you need to mix, to be able to move on as the entrepreneur. Yeah. And then, of course, you need to have a value proposition, right? So what do you propose, and we discussed during the quiz, better, faster, and also cheaper. They say you cannot have three of them. That's, I believe so, but sometimes some people make the mistake to think that to be the entrepreneur, you need to bring something new. Sometimes you could pretty much do the same thing, but just maybe you are much faster or cheaper. I put faster as well, sorry, but it was better. For example, you take the example of, the delivery for the food at home. I don't know how you call it in your country, Zomato, Uber Eats. So basically they bring you food to your place, so you don't have to cook. So basically it's doing the same thing, eating, but it's faster. And that's a good business model, they are generating a lot of money. Yeah. Of course, if you could improve something, it's also a very good value proposition, or even sometimes you create a new, you carve out a new space, new needs, new thing. That's also good. And always you sort of have this matrix, this one is between quality and cost. So if you propose like a product or like a solution which is better than the other people and which is cost less, you are really into a niche. I think it's very, very rare to have that. Sometimes maybe the cost is the same. So then even so it's better, it's attractive, but some people sometimes, they don't want to change. And if what you propose is much better and it costs more, I think it will be very difficult. Still possible, but most of the people, they are driven by cost. Yeah. Now, if what you propose is the same, the quality is not better, not worse. If it costs less, you still have a point, you have some value. If it's the same quality and the cost is the same, I think it's a bit tough. Who is going to change just for the sake of changing? And of course, if the quality is the same and it costs more, I think nobody probably will solicit you. And now if your quality is less, less quality than your competitor, and you cost less, I think even that is very difficult, to achieve. If your quality is less and the cost is the same, I don't think it's interesting. And now in some cases I've seen it, the product or the solution or the service, the quality is less and it costs more. So I think here you have to wake up because you probably you'll be disappearing soon. That's not really good value proposition. So yes, I don't think you can have three, better, faster, and also cheaper. So you need to find some sort of a balance, and you place yourself and then you see how it goes. Yeah. And then here I wanted to talk about the age experience factor. Of course, these are generality. I think it's actually applicable, I would say, for the oil and gas. Also, it's not the norm. You always have some different things. But here, basically, what you see is the years in the industry. Yeah, and then there are two graphs. In blue is the experience. So in theory, as you have more years in the industry, your experience level is going up. At the beginning, you are quite new. And then as you learn along, you are in this industry, you get more experience. And then for the orange is so the ability to, to do some innovation. And I think you guys, when you enter the industry, I think because you are young, you have a fresh eyes, I think your ability to innovate is very high, and as you go along at the beginning, the first few years, you can see that some of the things are actually not really possible. As you learn, yeah, that's not really possible. So you sort of restrict yourself, your ability to innovate, because some of the things are just not really possible. Now, after roughly 10 years, I would say in average, when you start to really know more experience, then you know what is possible. and you know what is not really possible. So your ability to innovate increases. Yeah. And when you go into the more into the senior or the veteran, your experience, you know, is going up, and this is what I call, you know more and more of less and less. So it's very difficult to develop some bias. So I think your ability to innovate goes down, you know, because you've seen the same thing again and again, and it works. So again, you know, what do you want to fix something which is not broken? And I think from my experience, there is really like a sweet spot, you know, in the middle where you understand the industry, but you are still, you know, fresh and adaptable to solve the pain point, and you can innovate. So I think in general, this is the sweet spot, you know, for the entrepreneurship, but by no means I have seen some people entry level already from the university having great ideas. So if you think you have a good ideas and you want to change the world, don't restrict yourself, you know, just go ahead. Yeah. Now, let's talk about entrepreneurship and innovation in the oil and gas industry. So the oil and gas industry, it's a bit strange because we are using really cutting edge technologies. Here, for example, it's a floating LNG. So basically it's like a factory or like a plant, which is floating, it's on a boat. I think there's only 2 or 3 in the world operating at the moment. You see, it's highly complex. It requires millions of man hours to work on that. Very high, you know, cutting edge, you know, in terms of safety and processes and material. Really, it's a beauty, you know, it's a piece of art almost. Yeah. Or for example, here is directional drilling. So 5 kilometers under your feet, the people can land the drilling bits in, you know, in a pocket, you know. So very, very, very high, you know, they're using cutting edge sort of technology for localization, well placements, data acquisition. Yeah. But at the same time, the adoption rate is really slow, you know, it's very difficult, and all those discoveries, all those new technologies, it took ages, you know, and the processes, you know, and actually they are still old, even for the workflow. And you see here, I put this timeline. As of today, this is the same since 200 years, we are still doing the exploration and the appraisal, and then we develop, and then end of field life. So that has not changed. And from the exploration to the development, you still take 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. So, you know, very high on the technology side, but still, so the processes are quite old. And I personally think this is where the innovation, you know, the entrepreneurship should focus on. Yeah. Just, and why is the reason? This is because of the way the projects are, you know, because we are dealing with billions of US dollar. And here what you see, it's a revenue, I mean, over project time. So if you take the project over 30 years, at the beginning, you know, you're going to spend a lot of money, you know, in that case, it's 300 million, you know, and then as you produce, you see, so this is your production in green, you go into the plateau, so you generate some money, you pay back yourself. So you see, it takes years already just to generate some decent amount of money. And then at some point, you know, the reservoir will become developed, really mature. So you exit your plateau, and then you go into what we call the mature, you know, the tail end. And here, so the challenge is different, you know, how you still make money when the production is really small, really marginal. And again, I think this is where the entrepreneurship, you know, and so the innovation should play a role. Yeah. Now, if we list down what are the pain points on the oil and gas industry as of today, first of all, it's the capital that we need are really big, you know, multi-billions of US dollar. And the problem is that it involves uncertainty. Many of them on the technical side, you know, for the reservoir that we cannot see, to the oil price, you know, who can predict what's the oil price in 5 years' time, even the next year, even next month. It's very difficult, and I think that's a problem. It also needs a lot of expertise, and that's why you guys are here, you know, critical skills like the geology, for example, engineering on the reservoir side, that is needed more than ever. And it's very difficult, you know, you see, you go through the studies, through the training, it takes years and years, and then after you have to build up your experience. So very difficult, you know, and a wrong decision because of lack of expertise can cost a billion. Yeah. One of the pain points as well is the lead time, is very long, it takes years, from the idea, from the discovery to executing the project. Of course, one of the pain points is there are upside and downside, but frankly speaking, more downside than the upside. Also, at the moment, the industry is functioning on a silo. It's very difficult to integrate, and I think also this is where the innovation should be, how to integrate in a seamless way, between so many people that are working in the industry. You've heard about it, right? The generational change, the people with the expertise slowly, either they retire or either they change the industry, that is happening. And I think that's a pain point. And nowadays, the public image is really negative and there's a green push. So you see there's a lot of pain point to be solved, so there's still a lot of space to be the entrepreneur and to find something, you see, just to fix all of those things. There's really, there's a lot of things that we can do. And if I look now at those pain points, with regard to the phase where we are. So for example, during exploration, so early life, I think one of the key pain points is how to predict, the exploration. So the discoveries, how to make sure that I avoid drilling what we call dry wells. So it's a well which did not see any oil or any gas. That's a big problem until today. Yeah. Seismic data, which is vital for exploration, how to acquire it in a faster way and in a better way. Still a lot of things to do. Can we drill deeper in a safe way? Still, there's a lot of things to do on that. There are some assets, so some discoveries basically that have been made, but are stranded. It means that they are far from, everything. So what do we do with that? Do we leave them or do we develop them? And then, of course, marginal field development. So the marginal field are small fields that barely make money. So I think this is one of the pain points here, how to develop that, how to go for marginal fields and make money so everybody is happy. Yeah. Now, if I look at oil and gas development phase, what are the pain points? Again, it's based on the prediction. So can I confidently predict the performance of the reservoir, of the wells? It's critical because that will tell you a lot of things, that will dictate whether your project is positive or negative. Can you boost the recovery? I don't know if you knew, but the oil fields, the typical recovery is only 30%, I would say, in average, sometimes 50%. So it means that you are leaving 50% of the oil in the ground after 20 or 30 years. That's a big pain point that we haven't solved yet. Reducing the cost in general, we should always try to make it faster, cheaper. That's really the case here. So it's still a big problem. Synergy with a lot of things, the energies, the other energies between assets, between companies. That's also a thing which is not really good at the moment. And then again, marginal fields. So the same thing, how to develop small fields, And then when you are late field life, what are the pain points? So when you are late the field life, you remember, right? So the production rate is very low. The profit, so the revenue are very low. So how do you make that? How do you improve that? How do you manage the decline in the production rates to still make money when the asset is very old, is mature? Can you bring a second life, third life? That's really another pain point. Also, when the asset is aging, there is a lot of maintenance. So can you predict that a bit better, so that you can do only what is required? In some countries, there's a big problem now is abandonment cost. There's a price, to decommission all the things for the project. And at the moment, it's very difficult. It costs a lot of money. If you are from Malaysia, there are some initiatives, for example, to convert the whole platform in the offshore into reef, artificial reef. So you see that's really, that's a good example of to solve, so the pain points of the decommissioning. So you've seen here as a conclusion, there's still a lot of things, there's huge space to be the entrepreneur, in the oil and gas. There's a lot of pain points. You see, I've listed them. I've also shown you my journey, It's very bumpy, but highly rewarding. A lot of learning. I mean, every day meeting people. But at the same time, I put this dark Vador in a green background because I call it the green menace. We try to go, into the new energies, reduce the CO2, go for renewable. So is that going to limit or even to stop the innovation and entrepreneurship in oil and gas? It's an open question, and that's really, I'd like to open the floor now, to discuss with you guys the new wave. What do you think? What does it mean to be the entrepreneur in oil and gas from 2022 onwards? You have this green push, but then you have still a lot of pain points. So, so what does it mean? So I'm really curious to hear from you. What do you think? Is it something that sort of interests you? Does that appeal you? And what do you think as a new person, as a fresh eyes? What do you think we could do? Yeah. And I'm gonna give you the floor now.
Thank you, Mr. Rafik, for the amazing presentation. So before we kick off with the Q&A, I would like, first of all, to join Glory and welcome everyone who has joined us on a Saturday, who have chosen to come and listen to us. So maybe we can kick off with the first questions. Does anyone have a question they want to address? Feel free to keep it in the chat box and we'll be more than happy to pick them up.
You can take the floor as well. Don't be shy, guys. You can raise your hand and then you can tell me. It's really a sort of open discussion here, So just go ahead. Yeah.
I think I will go with, I think I have a question to start with. So I wanted to ask, in your opinion, what's the best place to kick off your company? Because you know that in different places, there are different rules, and some, I know at least in Africa, it's the laws or the policies are not really favorable to kick off your company, right? So in your perspective, where is the best place? And if we're looking for a place to start your company, what we should look like, what should be the criteria and things like that?
Yeah, very good question. So there's two elements. I would say three elements. The first one is where your heart is, if you are from Africa, I think it's a good place, to do your business as an African. It's actually great. So really, if you are from Asia, you probably won't go to Latin America, for example, because it's not your home turf, so you have some affinity, with your own place, the people, what are the needs. So I would say really starting where you are, Then a second one is, of course, you need to solve a pain point. You need to find something. So for example, you're not going, you heard that a lot, right? But you're not going to sell ice to the Eskimo, right? So it's not going to work. So if you want to work in oil and gas, you probably won't go to places where they function on green energy or vice versa. So you need to go to be in a place where there is some sort of a need, or like a niche, or like a business need to what you offer. And then I would say third is probably where you can get also, if you need some funding, for example, or if you think that there are some key customers, then it's basically, so the financial side also plays a role. If you go to a place which is not business friendly, where, for example, they would tax you, they would put a huge amount of tax on you from day one, that's probably not a good place. You need, I mean, at the beginning, it's when you do the entrepreneur, when you start your company, it's very tough. You have to tighten your belt, and you have to do a lot of resources, a lot of time into the business. So if the place is not very friendly for business, then probably it's not a good place at the beginning. Yeah.
Great, thank you. So I'll pick up a question from the audience that I have. So I saw when you were talking. So what does entrepreneurship actually mean? I know that's a very subjective question. Maybe we won't like to hear. What's your definition of entrepreneurship?
Yeah, so I think if you go to the internet, you will see the entrepreneurship. They summarize it like it's a guy who is going to jump through the cliff, and at the same time that he's dropping, he's going to build like a plane, and then he has to take off. I think that's the short answer, but I think to me it goes beyond that. You know, the entrepreneurship is two elements. You know, is a vision. You know, is try to solve. You know, try to make sense of something. You know, solve the pain points, and then it's a risk taking. So really, the entrepreneurship is taking a risk. You know, to make things better. That's what it means to me. You know, that's how I would summarize it.
Yeah, basically, in short, is how you use your talent to add value in other people's life, right?
I think so. I think so. You can even say it, how to change the world in a positive way. I mean, we always change the world, even small, very small things. So that's what it is to be the entrepreneur. Yeah.
Great. I think I saw Glory. Did you raise your hand by any chance?
Yeah, you can take the floor,
Yeah.
Miss Glory. Yeah, you can tell us. Yes.
Yeah, you go.
Okay. Okay. I want to thank you so much, Mr. Rafik, for the presentation. It was a wonderful one. Hope you can hear me.
I can hear you. Yeah, and thanks a lot
Yeah,
for
we
the
can.
kind words.
Okay, that's great. Like I said before, when I saw the particular topic, I was excited because I love entrepreneurship and I wanted to be an entrepreneur as well. So my question is, okay, first of all, to answer your question, you said what does it mean being an entrepreneur in the oil and gas industry? There's one particular thing you said that is interesting, and I took that down. You said, if you think you have great ideas and you want to change the world, that we shouldn't restrict ourselves. That's a good one, and I must thank you for that. So my particular question is, okay, from your definition of entrepreneurship, it means that one has to start up something and go for it and do it. So in the oil and gas industry, how does one become an entrepreneur, given that, like you said, it's capital intensive? And then I have this idea because during school, throughout school, I've always, what even brought me to SPE in the first place is energy. Being an economics student, I loved energy, and that was my interest. I was interested in energy. That was what got me to SPE in the first place. But then with so many competitions, I've gone for competitions with my teammates on a particular, because we're looking at using biodegradables to generate electricity. But because of the capital intensive nature of that particular project, we're not able to build our prototype to a working standard, because most investors, they'll be like, oh, do you have a working prototype? And you'll be like, no, and they wouldn't even want to invest because they are not seeing what you're saying. So how can one even thrive in such an industry that you don't even have the capital to begin, and now you're talking about being an entrepreneur? So how can we do that? Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks a lot for the kind word again for the question. I like your enthusiasm. I think it's very good. Can you still see my screen or no?
Yeah, I can see your screen.
Yeah. So you see, I put the triangle. I mean, again. So what you need is a vision. Okay. So, and it's a mindset, and then is a fund. And I think one of the mistakes on the fund is to think that you need to have a lot of money. Of course, if you want to build a plant for biodegradables, yes, that will cost you a lot of money. But initially, you don't have to invest that from day one. So of course, you will need to have people to fund you. So I think what you should do is to really to set up your vision, you know, to make it very clear, you know, if it's only you or with your team. So you know, so you focus to convey this message to the people who basically could have a fund, you know, so to do that. And for prototype, again, for nowadays, everything is digital. You could, I'm just thinking out loud now, but you could make like a simulation, like a digital twin, you know, something, you know, like a 3D model, like a numerical model, or even you can make like a 3D printout. I mean, this is why, you know, when you don't have a fund, you'll have to compensate that with the creativity, you know, and the point is that you can always find a way, you know, when there is a will, there is like possibility, you know. So just be creative, guys, you know, just try to, you know, so to contour or to, I mean, or to go around, you know, so the obstacle, which is fun. I'm pretty sure if you make your vision very clear and you guys show your mindset, you will be able to, I think, to get the last part of the triangle. Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rafik. I would like to jump on. I have a question here from the audience, but I'd like to jump on Glory's question and come back. I'm assuming you have the mindset, you have the vision. So how do you start looking for the funding? Do you approach oil and gas companies? How do you look for investors? Because I think we're all young people here. We don't have the idea of how to pitch, who to approach first. Maybe you can enlighten us on that aspect.
So I'm a bit of a bad example because myself, in so far 6 years, I never solicited fund, and actually I turned it down a few times. Some people, they wanted to put fund on me, but I rejected it. So I think there's two things, right? If you don't have a fund, you have to be as a creative. You can stretch things, and I mean, again, I stress it up. Today, you can start, you can do something as a prototype with very little fund. I'm pretty much sure about that. That's one. And then I think there is a bit of a misconception, especially with the new wave, is that we think to get the funding is the end, is the objective. It's not the end, So again, like the money is the way, to achieve your vision, to reach your destination. So you need to be careful, if you think that you need funds to do something, probably the investors that you will meet, they will challenge you. They say, if it's only funding, then perhaps your idea is not that great, So I think you probably stretch yourself, be really creative. If you have some saving, invest them, and then create, your prototype. You kickstart your business, and then if it's a good idea, things will come. It will snowball. That's my vision. But again, here I'm a bit on the bias because myself, I like to take the stairs. I don't like to take the lift. I like to go through this hardship, so to generate my own funds, because I want to, I don't want to have any pressure from many people that they put money on me and then they tell me within 1 year, I want to double what I gave you. This may happen. So I think if you have a mindset, you set up what's, so the vision, what you want to solve. Again, you'll be very creative. You can kickstart, you can do something. It's really possible. You can always do something with very little, and then you snowball and then you grow. That's my idea.
Great. Thank you very much. Now I'll pass the floor to Liam.
Hello again, Mr. Rafik.
Yeah, Liam.
Yeah, firstly, thank you for taking us through a brief a very brief explanation of your very insightful journey. I'm sure if there's more time, there's so much more to be shared. Yeah. So what I was curious is, if today you were given the chance to talk to yourself before you started on this entrepreneurship journey, what would be the advice you would give to yourself? As well as, is there anything that you would have done differently?
Very good questions. Yes. So it's, I said it's a bumpy road, right? You remember? And definitely I made some of the mistakes which I wish I would have heard beforehand. For example, one of the mistakes that we often make when we are young, either as the entrepreneur or as the employee, it's very common. We think that we know everything. So, and it's not the case. So for example, I give you one example. If I would have known, I would have probably from day one paid a little bit of money and take the advice of financial people, tax advisors, because on the long run, you'll definitely save, they know, they've been through it. And I thought myself I would be able to learn, on the fly, but it just takes too much time, So that's one of the things, Another thing as well, I am quite good at that, but could have been a bit better, is really when you are the entrepreneur, you need to be frugal. You need to be very savvy. You need to tighten your belt from day one. And for some people, it's very difficult. It's you need to be. Some people they want to have, they want to consume. They want to have a latest iPhone. They want to have a nice car. They want to travel. So I think you will need to forget like about that for the beginning, until your business is viable. Because basically whatever you spend in those things which are not necessary is actually less for your business. And it can be like a problem. But I also do understand, on the other hand, you're working very hard for so many years, and sometimes it's natural, to indulge yourself. You work so hard. If you always tighten your belt forever, then what's the point? When we create, we work, we do something, is to be happy as well, is to be better, So I would say really, so to summarize, is really to be much more savvy. I'm already quite savvy. I'm quite happy, but even more money savvy. And then when you need help, reach out for the help. Don't try to do, everything, because in the end, you probably do nothing. So do acknowledge that some of the things you don't know is not your expertise, tax, financial, auditing, and so on. You cannot do that. You cannot become the auditor in 1 week or 1 month. So then it's better to delegate it to somebody who knows that.
Great, thank you, Mr. Afik. So if I may summarize on that, is you don't know everything. So seek help when needed. Seek experts. Seek mentorship. Number 2 is to make sure that you tighten your belt from day one. Prioritize what you want to have. We have another question here, is how can the oil and gas industry promote business idea in products like tires business in a country like Nigeria? This is a question coming from Name Ominu from Nigeria.
Yeah, it's a good question, because I think this is where we are. I think so the oil and gas is not so good, is really to promote things, the same way like we do for the food or for the IT, for the gadgets. I think it's, I don't have the clear answer, to be honest. But again, it could be also like a pain point, how to promote things better, how to really, give justice to the oil and gas. It's really negative, but a lot of our life depend, on it. Again, it's somebody new, fresh eyes can come with a new concept, or we can adapt something from another industry, how to make it, more acceptable, looks better. Everything is possible. Everything is doable.
Thank you. We have one question from one of our colleagues, who's also one of our mentors, Mr. Bior. Please take the floor.
Mr. Bior.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you. Thank you very much, Afik, and thank you, Abdallah. You had a very nice presentation. This is what is ringing at the back of mind of all the young professionals nowadays. They are debating on remaining with their company or starting a business of their own. But what is challenging, as we talked about before, is how to solicit funds. So in your advice, can you give an advice to a young aspiring entrepreneur, whether to continue being in their company and then do some part-time entrepreneurship? But is it also part-time entrepreneurship in oil and gas industry? Is it something that is possible to do? So that's what I would want to know.
Yeah, very good question. Thank you, Mr. Bior. Yeah, again, you see, so the problem are the same, right? Because we want to work, to get some fund, and we are not sure. So my experience, you see, I worked for Shell for 10 years. I knew from day one when I joined Shell that I will not retire with this company. My idea was to gain some experience, gain some knowledge, and sooner or later I would fly on my own. I knew that. So in general, I think, and that's specific to the oil and gas, I think you need to understand. You remember this graph, you need to know a little bit, what are the problems. And I think that comes through a couple of years in the industry. So to understand a bit, what works well, what doesn't work well, and then, once you know that, once you become sort of, expert in the field, then I believe this is when you can, you are able to identify what are the problems and how to solve them. So that's what I would tend to say, get some experience first, learn, be humble, work in a company, learn, just drink as much as possible for the knowledge. But on the other hand, I've seen some entrepreneurs very young from the university having great ideas, and it works quite well. So I think it really goes down, to you. Again, if you think that you are into something that's going to add value, then push for it. I think what you could do is you could solicit maybe some mentors, so some people with more experience, to do some sort of sense check. What I am trying to do. Is it viable? Is it something which is doable, or am I missing something? So I think this would be the advice. And on the funding, again, let's be creative. I think if you have something very strong, I'm sure you'll find a way to do it with pretty much nothing. So I'll take my example. Initially, what I was selling is my expertise. So that costs pretty much nothing, right? Only thing I have to pay is my rent and my expenses. And if I tighten my belt, then I could sustain for a very, very, very long time, right? But again, the expertise is a challenge, because some of the company, they think it's better to have the employee. They don't want to, they don't want to hire some consultants. So which is why myself, to sort of diversify, I start also to propose some services and also some solutions. Because you should never put all your eggs in the same basket, and also you should never fall in the complacency. Like if it works, then I just do the same thing. You should always question yourself. Put yourself at risk. Okay, what if? On the worst case, am I still protected? So that's the idea. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Rafik. Thank you very much for all your questions. I think we are coming to the end of our presentation. But before we go, I would kindly ask everyone to switch on their videos so we can take a picture to commemorate this time. So you have, everyone, please switch on your videos. Jirba, I'll ask you to handle the screenshots, if that's fine with you. Great. Please switch on your videos. Is there any more people coming in? Great. We'll just wait for a few seconds, maybe 30 seconds, and then we'll take a picture.
You guys are too serious. Yeah, that's better. I want to see some smiles. Yes, excellent.
I heard entrepreneurship, you have to be serious, man.
Come on, guys. It's
we should have fun.
Yeah, this is the weekend, right?
Great. Jirba, are you ready for the screenshot? Please let us know.
Yes.
Maybe you can do a countdown. So
yeah, 3, 2, 1. One more with any free poses. 3, 2, 1. All right.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you much, everyone. Before we go, I would like to ask everyone to give us feedback on our events, and they are really much appreciated. This is also how you can get a certificate of attending our event. Wait, like 1 minute. I think you can see my screen right now. And while I'm sharing my screen and people are giving the feedback, maybe I can give the floor one last time to Mr. Rafik to give your closing remarks.
Thank you very much again. You guys, I think most of you, fair to say, are quite young. The new wave, it's already speak something, it says something that you come like that for Saturday, so to listen to me. So it's much appreciated. Despite what we hear from the industry, I think we still have some future in oil and gas. So keep pushing, guys. Let's work hard, and I wish soon, to see you guys in the news or for the LinkedIn. You've made up something, you created something. So that's what matters. Yeah, I hope that I give you a little bit of a taste for the entrepreneurship. So and you can stay in touch with me. You know, you can find me anytime. Always very happy to answer your questions and to provide my my humble help. Yeah, all the best, guys. It was a pleasure to have you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rafik. I would like to take this opportunity on behalf of my team and the SPKL team, together with our collaborators for this event, to thank you for taking your time on a Saturday, as you say, to join us. It's been a very fruitful one. I would like also to thank our audience for also taking your time on this Saturday evening, afternoon, or morning, depending on your time zone, to join us today. We would like to remind all of you that we still have a talk going on at 8 p.m. Malaysia time, which is 4 p.m. In the UAE time. We'll be talking about CCUS, which is also the new upcoming, technologies, in the energy transition. So please join us tonight. And before we leave, I would like everyone to give a round of applause to, even virtual, to Mr. Rafik for joining us today. And that will be the end of ours today. Thank you, everyone, and see you later tonight.
Thank you, everybody. All the best. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, Mr. Rafik.
Thank you, guys. See you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Rafik.
Thank you, Glory. Thank you.